somehow this guy named Montel Jones found out that I rapped, and he wanted to do jazz with a rapper. He played instruments, and he recorded me. I was young, you know what I mean? I had to be, I don't know how old I was, man. I was young as hell, man. And we recorded a couple songs. Then later on, when I was 19, I met DJ Icy Rock, and I hooked up with him and started doing music. I'm trying to remember all this. And in 93, we got our first record deal with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis out here in LA.
So that in 93 was the first record deal.
Yes.
And what was the steps that were taken in the path to that? Because I imagine that you've slowly been over the years trying to deal with the fact that the hip hop industry wanted to put you into a pretty simple cookie cutter format, and that you were always aware that you were not going to be that, and that it was the slow process of being able to not be that.
Yeah, that was after my first record deal. You know what I mean? Because my first one, DJ Icy Rock had some friends from Kansas City, and they had a deal with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. It was an R&B group called Low Key, and they started managing me and pitched me to Jimmy and Terry, and they loved me. Brought me out here in 93 is when I met Tupac, you know what I'm sizzling, and they signed me to Perspective A&M right here on La Brea, it was at the time, the A&M lot or whatever. And that's how I got my first record deal, and it was off of a song called Nomads, and we used KRS-One's piece from The Bridge Is Over. We moving over there, and then we moving over here. We moving over there, and then we moving over here. You know what I'm saying? Because of Nomads, you know, I was moving from place to place. And that's how I got my first record deal, you know what I'm saying? It went sour, you know what I mean? Because of the people that were running it, not Jimmy and Terry, but who we had running it at the time. They didn't know what to do with a black dude with red spiked hair and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? They didn't know what to do. Painted face, you know? And I understand that.
So you were doing the whole painted face, crazy hair thing, even like in the very early days.
Well, it wasn't as painted then, you know what I'm saying? It was like, and I think the year was 1994 or 5. I've been drinking a little bit. Yeah, excuse me. You know what I'm saying? With the Killer Clown coming forth, the myth in Kansas City, Missouri, when we were young, is that it was a clown that snatched children, who drove a yellow van. It was mysterious. We never seen it, but we saw yellow vans all the time, and it would scare the hell out of us, you know. Later on in life, after being afraid of clowns when I was younger because of the Killer Clown myth, I became the clown because I wanted that mystique, the mysteriousness, and clown everybody lyrically. You know what I'm saying? Kansas City King, the Killer Clown is what I became. Started painting my face. My brother Brian Dennis, rest his soul, who painted my first, who did my first face paint. I want to say 94 maybe. Just 94. And ever since then, in honor of my fallen comrade, I still do the paint. I have a mask now that Corey Taylor of Slipknot turned me on to.
Okay, because I was watching an interview where you were talking about, I don't wear the face paint anymore, but I'm working on a mask.
Yes.
Okay, so now we're full mask territory.
Yeah,
but you very rarely paint up anymore?
Yeah, I have to paint up inside the mask, you know what I'm saying, so it won't look weird, you know. So
Yeah.
I have to do the eyes black and the nose black, you know.
Right.
And Corey Taylor turned me on to this guy named Jake out here who does Slipknot masks. And I needed masks for somebody that sweats and does like 2-hour shows, and Slipknot are the ones.
Right.
Me and Corey were already like this. Me and DJ Starscream were already like this. Me and Clown were already like this. So they helped me. And I got the mask made on the style from the face paint. I wanted it to be exactly like my face paint. And they did it. And I still have them to this day.
Yeah, I seen Slipknot in 1998 at like the local rock festival.
That's crazy. I heard them. I heard them for the first time in 1999.
Yeah. Actually, 99. That sounds more plausible.
Yeah.
That was when they first really popped off. Yeah, and that was just, I was astonished. I'd never seen anything like that before in my life.
Me either. Insanity.
Yeah.
I love Insanity.
When did your interest in metal start to pop up? Was that from early on?
Early in my childhood, my uncle Ike introduced rock to me because he worked for the school board and he had friends of different colors and you know, so early on with Led Zeppelin and Jimi Hendrix, and then the Doors. The Doors.
That really blew your mind?
Thank God for the Doors.
Right.
Because if it wasn't for the Doors,
there would be no Strange Music.
No.
Or it'd be called something else, at least.
It would be called Jimi Hendrix Music or something. You know what I'm saying? Beatles music. I don't know. But thank God for Jim Morrison and his wonderful lyrics and his wonderful poetry and his will to be a rebel. Thank God for John Densmore for his wonderful drumming, and Robbie Krieger for his wonderful guitar, and rest in peace Ray Manzarek for his wonderful keys, and their whole fusion of sound made me and inspired me to call my label Strange Music. And I was able to work with all of them, even with Jim on the chorus. Right before Manzarek died, we did Strange Days 2014, or was it 2015? 2014, I think. Yeah, I got that done. The people that inspired me to call my label Strange, I got to work with them. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's pretty crazy to think that, you've done more than, I mean, you got to give respect to the greats, but you've done more than most people to have mixed hip hop and metal, aggressive music together.
Yes.
And that you were probably the very, I would assume you're a real exception to the rule, being that young, that early into hip hop, but also really knowing about a lot of different rock groups. That's pretty telling.
Yes, man. Yes, man. Thank God to my family. I grew up in a Christian house. You know what I mean? And but my Uncle Ricky was in the rap. My Uncle Ike was in the rap and R&B and rock. You know what I'm saying? Played me Benny and the Jets and all that shit from back in the day. You know what I mean? Just different types of music. And then MTV, we were able to get MTV when I was 11, I think. We couldn't afford it like everybody else when it first came out. Like when Thriller came out, I had to go across the street and watch it with my friends at their house.
First black artist on MTV, right?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have cable at that time. But shortly after, we got those channels, and then it was Adam Ant, and it was the Eurythmics. And,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
But you were drawn to that stuff, whereas like your average peer probably saw those videos and didn't necessarily care as much.
I was drawn to it.
Yeah.
I was drawn to it. I always loved music.
You're just a music fan, yeah.
Yeah, it can be cultural, you know what I'm saying? And it can be tribal to where niggas only listen to this, and white folks only listen to this.
But that didn't mean anything to you even that young. That's impressive, yeah.
Beautiful music is what I always loved, you know what I'm sizzling? So there was never no barriers for me and my homeboys in my neighborhood, and blood neighborhood, and like, man, turn that white boy shit off. Not all of them, though. Big School, he would listen to some Slipknot with me in later years and stuff like that. But
it feels like the audience has come around to the idea of being interested in various types of music and being open-minded. Where in '97, when I was in like 7th grade, it felt like it was a war. Rock music versus rap music.
Yes.
It doesn't feel like that anymore.
No, it doesn't. You know what I'm saying? But when I was invited to do Rock Fest in Kansas City a couple years ago, the YouTube comments like, why would you have him at Rock Fest? This is Rock Fest, not Rap Fest. They didn't understand that I had a band of psychos and that my music had rock energy on certain songs. You know what I'm sizzling? They didn't know. A lot of people in Kansas City didn't know. 70,000 people saw me murder that stage. Papa Roach saw me murder that stage. Seven Dust up there saw me murder that stage. You know what I'm saying? Rob Zombie back there backstage saw me murder that stage. And everybody was like, wow. Even the crowd. And I went to YouTube afterwards to the highlights, and they like N9ne stole the show, and it's like they were saying I didn't belong there, and people were saying we see why he was there now. Because it should be about beautiful music. And the rock station there, Johnny Dare and all them were behind me. They asked me to do it again this year, but I already had a big show planned. I wanted to do it again. You know what I'm sizzling? I'm doing Rock on the Range this year again. You know what I mean? I just did Aftershock with 9 Inch Nails.
So you do a lot of the big like overseas metal
Yes.
rock type
Yes.
festivals,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, I do. And
You feel like you still win over a lot of those fans that they like become converted to being fans of you all the
yeah.
time, yeah.
I do Hood Go Crazy at those shows. The one I did with Lil Wayne and B.O.B.
Yeah.
It don't matter. It's music, man. You know what I'm saying? But of course, I do my rock music as well. Riot Maker is in there. You know what I'm saying? On this tour, I got Starting to Turn with me and Jonathan Davis on the set list. You know what I mean? Can't do Wither yet. I need some help to do Wither, the one I did with Corey Taylor. But we're gonna do that one day.
You know, there was like, I feel like the biggest moment for rap and metal colliding, at least from my vantage point, was like that Korn Limp Bizkit era.
Yes.
But then that also kind of killed it in a way where it felt like rap metal, which seemed like a great idea at the time, it got so commercial so fast that people just got really grossed up by the idea of it.
Yeah.
And that must have been strange for somebody like you, who even I didn't know about you at the time, but you were probably already like experimenting with mixing the genres, and you saw that kind of it become uncool during that whole storm, would you say?
Yeah. That particular style, but the way we did it was so natural that it's undeniable. And when you look on the YouTube comments for Wither and Starting to Turn it, like N9ne really fuses it perfectly because I'm not just doing it just to be doing it. It's like, oh, I'm just going to hop on this. I've always been on it as natural for me. You know what I mean? So nothing's going to sound generic coming from me.
That sounds
with
more
rap and
authentic.
rock.
Like,
yes.
you know, man, I hate to take shots at the go, but Jada Pinkett Smith, remember when she had a metal band?
No, I don't remember
You
that.
know, I think it was called like Words of Wisdom or something.
Oh, I don't know.
When I would listen to it, it very much felt like, you know, a rich, famous celebrity in her 40s or 30s who decided that she wanted to be the singer of a metal band. It felt like the least I'm not asking you to co-sign my opinion of her.
No, that's all good.
I'm sure you guys are good
you
friends.
know the real shit when you hear it. You
Exactly,
know,
yeah.
you know Rage Against the Machine when you hear
Yeah.
it. You know what
Especially
I'm
in like aggressive music.
saying? Oh, yeah. You know System of a Down when you hear it because Surge, he had some rap in there. Wake up. What you wanted to.
You remember the first time you heard that?
Oh, yes, man. You know what I'm saying? Blew me away. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And that's why we did music.
Yeah.
Straight out the gate.
You were